eyeliner all the time.
Really. With ballistics. Oh, wait, no, that's the president's daughter.
Dude, what the fuck is in my microphone? There's like little tidbits of shit in here. You hear nothing like you're like.
And you're listening to the Scorpio Powers
show.
Yeah, because I forget the words. Just a warning at the head of the show this time as opposed to the end. We're going to spoil stuff. We're going to ruin your day. Tough shit. Deal with it.
We'll probably make the internet mad, but, that's not hard.
I've done it before.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jim.
I'm the gay one.
And I'm the straight one.
Can that please be our motto?
It probably is already.
Yeah. Well, that's how I'm selling it on Twitter right now, so hopefully it stays that way. Oh, my God.
And this is the show where we talk about our childhood and how we hate all of you.
Yeah, pretty much, which is actually today's topic. Like, we want to talk about all these movies that are coming out and just everything in general and how they're just trying to recreate what we grew up with because they're not dipping into anything new, They're just they just want to.
They've literally hit a 15 years worth of writer's block, and they're like, I can't come up with a great idea, so let's go look at Hasbro's product line.
Because Hasbro was doing it correctly back in the day when they could figure out how to sell toys to get people to buy the toys and then go watch the cartoon and get kids pumped.
So you can know what the toys do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then break the toys because they were complexed for our little 4-year-old hands.
Oh my God. I know.
G.I. Joe's waistbands.
They all had the same voice in our head.
Well, in our head, they sounded like the characters on the TV show.
I don't know. I think I had some issues.
But we're talking, you look at the 80s, and it was a plethora of television from G.I. Joe, Transformers, Jem, Ryan's favorite.
Jem. She's truly outrageous, guys. Truly, truly outrageous.
She is. What else? Thundercats.
Oh, God.
Because that got remade.
Yeah, we'll touch on that, too.
But there's a whole slew of, everything 1980s and how it just kind of came back full circle. And I honestly believe it started, 2006, 2007-ish.
Yeah, and it's not even just the Hasbro stuff. It's,
movies in general.
Exactly. It's all movies. This whole Marvel Avengers thing, which I'm enjoying, and I love it, but it's still dipping into that same pool because a lot of what they're recreating their storylines from is from that whole 70s, 80s
the camp
era.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the 70s Avengers stuff and Lou Ferrigno with the green paint on.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. As much as, there has been 3 different Hulks in the last 10 years, Lou Ferrigno as a Hulk stands out as, my Hulk.
Yeah, mine too.
It's the greatest disappointment that he wanted $40 for a picture with him. When I went to New York Comic Con, I was going to have.
And you were sad.
I was because I didn't have. And I didn't cry, but I didn't have.
You cried
$40.
when you couldn't get in to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie when you were a child.
Yes, I did. I will proudly admit that.
That's okay. I cried at the end of every Disney movie. I definitely saw The Little Mermaid and cried like a little bitch during that in the theaters.
Really?
Yeah. And then when they brought back Bambi and they put that on the big screen, but that is the movie that just destroys children's innocence.
For me, it was actually Transformers the movie after the mega duel between Prime and Megatron.
Oh, okay. That I wasn't even thinking of that. I was just thinking about the first 2 minutes of that movie when a giant robot planet and destroys
it just
everyone.
wipes out a culture.
Yeah, and it's creepy anime style too.
For dinner, no less.
Yeah.
Not to mention, 5 minutes after that, you watch 4 of the Autobots you grew up with just get blasted away.
Yeah, pretty much.
With no loss to the decons.
Well, in Japan, they're not as nice to watch
one another as they were over in American television.
Well, I was just thinking about making kids watch things, and they're not really worried about the repercussions of it. Where America will hide things. Although, I feel like that's going out the window now that we have Adventure Time, a regular show, and it's just trippy as balls.
Yeah, and they're testing the boundaries. But you know what? That was SpongeBob originally.
That was SpongeBob, and before that it was Animaniacs and Tiny Toons.
And before that, Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocko's Modern Life, which I did not appreciate as much as a kid as I do now. See, I think that's exactly the point, though. It's there were all these great shows that were multi-layered that kids could watch with their families because the parents enjoyed it on a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, because the crude humor catches all. I mean, the biggest one is the titan of the shows.
Yes,
The Simpsons.
Yeah, that is literally the titan of all shows. I watched that as a kid and I did not understand what everyone else was laughing at, but I want to be Bart Simpson.
Yeah, I didn't get the jokes until I was, most of the jokes until I was an adult.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my dad and I'm like, you let me watch this. And he's like, I was in the room. I was parenting.
I think I watched it with my older sister initially.
Yeah. I still try to watch it with my dad every weekend.
That is intense. I can't even keep up like that. I have to catch on Hulu
It's
later.
been brutal, what with hockey and all that.
Yeah.
Thank God for on-demand television, but...
And Hulu.
No, it's not Pitch TV.
Yeah.
We're probably getting sued now. Thanks, Comcast.
But I guess the point I was going to make is that it's like I think they're trying to do what worked in the 80s and the 90s, where it was like they were able to reach all audiences. But that's just because the writers and the whole production was much different back then. And I think some current shows have figured that out. Like I said, like Adventure Time and Regular Show are those types of shows.
Well, it's one of those things where you look how things were done back then.
Yeah.
And it was on very poor budgets, very few voice actors or very few actors in general. And you tried to make something that, the shows that succeeded were either very wholesome in their message, like the Cosbys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you had the other end, which the pilot of this series was called It's Not the Cosbys. And it was known as Married with Children.
Oh, my God.
Which provided, what became the archetype in my mind of, the stereotypical American family was husband, wife, kids, animals. And it was
like The Simpsons, but in real life.
Yeah. And honestly, Married with Children still is rewatchable today. We've all seen it 1.5 million times. We've all watched...
I liked it a lot better when I got older, because I tried watching it as a kid, and I don't think I understood it quite as much as I do now.
But it was one of those ones where, you had that, but that was all writing. I mean, Amanda Bierce and Ed O'Neill wrote that show into the ground. And the fact that they were able to play, the bitter enemies on the show.
I know.
And then they were, the best friends in the writing room. It was just what would happen in this situation? And he's like, well... I think Al would question, especially Amanda Bierce's character.
Yeah.
What with her actually being
gay
in real life,
And then her character not knowing if she was gay or
just hypersexual.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when Jefferson came on the scene, how to spice up their love life, and they were pretending they were Al and Peg having sex all over the house.
Oh my God. I love that show and a lot of shows of that time. But I guess what really spiked all this now is that we just watched those trailers.
Yeah, we watched a couple trailers for X-Men
Days of Future Past
and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
And the thing that makes them mutants is not that they're turtles that can talk. It's because they have scary baby faces.
Ugh. I'm not going to condemn it right away because I have not seen the film. And
well, all I could say is that all I got from that was that the opening of that trailer was exactly Batman Begins.
It really was.
And then now also Arrow, and it's just this city is made of filth and crime, and there's nobody here to stop it, and that's why we created the Turtles.
I am the turtle.
Well, yeah. At least it's better than what I thought that we were going to do, because I heard this crazy rumor for a while that they were going to be aliens.
Yeah.
So at least they're not that.
And the only thing that links it so far is I think I saw Shredder's mask, and I think I saw the words TGI on the canisters of ooze. So that kind of links it in.
Yeah. Maybe Shredder will be hot, and I'll be okay with that.
But you look at the Turtles franchise.
Yep.
And the Turtles franchise is a comic book, to which the comic book's actually very dark. If you look at the original Ninja Turtles comic,
that's in black and white.
Black and white. They all wore red bands. The only reason why they're colored was to differentiate.
Right.
During the TV show, because they all look the same color green.
Yeah.
But, they slice and dice foot soldiers, and they're not robots. Yeah. And that's the underlying point of the TV show that we grew up with, is you look at all those robots they went through. I mean, who's got the money to keep building a robot army like that?
Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, apparently.
Until he turns to a giant fly.
With the dumbest weapons ever.
Oh, my God, I know. And I've been rewatching all the old Ninja Turtles because I keep on buying each volume. Because they're $5.
Yeah.
So when I finish one, I buy another 12 episodes.
Yeah, but you look at what it was. You had the comic, which was dark and gritty. Then you had the TV show, which was obviously geared towards children.
Yep.
Because its products sold like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you had The movie, which I tried looking up the release date on my phone, and we are in the wondrous cavernous area of the Connecticut offices once again, and the internet works like shit.
Pretty much.
So,
Connecticut Studios coming to you live.
Yeah, well, now, but not for you.
Well, I'm alive. We've already established this.
But the movies were kind of like a hodgepodge.
Yep.
It took what they knew of the cartoon show, but it also kind of was very true to the source material.
I kind of love those movies, though.
The first two.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about the third one where they travel in time.
Which actually had some, as a big hockey fan, I love the part where they got the ancient Chinese warriors watching hockey.
No, I love that too.
Which, in my opinion, hockey bridges all. But, the first one's fantastic.
Right.
And it's like low budget, it's gritty. Casey Jones is fantastic.
Oh my God, I had such a crush on Casey Jones. I don't think he's even in this new movie. I think I saw that, I looked at the cast and I was like, there's no Casey Jones. Why am I even seeing this movie?
Well, and Casey
and why is he not taking his shirt off? Sorry.
But the interactions, Casey Jones, should normally be freaked by the turtles, and then he gets along with them. And I love it in the movie, him and Donatello are trading insults.
Oh, I know.
Then they're just sitting there, just trading insults back and forth. Chrome Dome, and Donatello runs his hand over his head and looks, and he's just like, meh.
They translated that pretty well to that later animated series that they did in 2000 to 2003, which I think that was probably the best run they ever had with the Ninja Turtles period.
For modern, yeah. Classic is classic.
Yeah, and then there's the new
which is
CG
sad,
one. Have you watched any of that?
I have not seen any of the new stuff.
It took me a while to get sold on it because I thought the pilot was really bad. And then I thought a few episodes after that were really bad too. But then as it kind of continued, it had that weird 90s Turtles vibe that I love.
Yeah, that's what really killed Turtles, I think, was the 90s when they tried to do too much.
That was every show they made in the 90s. Or let's see how many low budget animated shows we can make and how many episodes we can go for.
Well, there was the 5 different G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
There was I think a brief Transformer reboot. I could be horribly, horribly wrong.
No, there's been a whole bunch recently. There was one that was 2D, then there was one there's a 3D one. This is what I'm talking about, is that they keep on harping on it. So it's how many times are we going to make G.I. Joe? How many times are we going to make the Ninja Turtles and Transformers? And it's I'm okay with them doing it over and over again, but they don't take the time to actually sit there and develop what could be a good show.
Going back to Turtles, most people are either unaware of this or they are, which surprised me, is the TMNT movie that came out in 2006-ish, 2007, is actually
that's the comic
books storyline.
Yeah, no, isn't that legitimate?
But it's linked in the storyline to movie 1 and 2.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's legit because, spoiler, no Shredder. But Shredder's number 2, Kieran or whatever.
That's his daughter.
His daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
She says to Leonardo, just remember, some enemies may return. And Leonardo looked back, and Shredder's mask was missing off the mantle of their great victories.
I forgot about that movie, and I really liked that one too.
It was really good, and Patrick Stewart as
oh my God, I know
the villain. I love how his minions were you got to live forever, and he's it's no life.
I know. I actually.
But then again, when does Patrick Stewart do any wrong?
That's true. I think the reason why that we're so annoyed with this current trailer is because we've seen Michael Bay do this already.
Once before with a franchise I love to death.
Yeah, and it's okay, why does everybody have to be super bulked out? Why are they why is it dark and not even the dark part, it's dark and Batman Begins-y, which I already touched on, and then then of course April O'Neil is falling all over herself and bending over, and it's what is this? This is not April O'Neil.
Well, she's also I don't know what she's expecting from the turtles, because science says the turtles are well endowed and vectors of many, many diseases.
I don't either.
I liked in the 2006-7 movie, her and Casey Jones were a thing.
Yeah, no, that's the way.
And
it
that's
been.
Yeah, because they're people. No offense to the turtles.
Yeah,
they're turtles.
They also had Casey Jones, which I'm I'm glad they at least had Casey.
And he did stuff. He wasn't like useless. Like, sometimes he was portrayed as just like, hey guys, I'm here.
I know. He's like, I want to be a hero too.
It's like, April O'Neil like puts on her ninja costume, and he's like, she looks at him, and he's got his like jeans and the torn shirt and the hockey mask, and he's like, what? And she's like, you could go a little bit better. He goes, I like to work when I'm comfortable.
Oh my god!
And he had the golf bag full of bats and cricket paddles and all that.
I know. He's a legitimate badass. He's doing this all by himself, and not in the way that Batman like creates like all his little like gadgets and goes out there and he's super smart. It's Casey Jones. He literally just runs outside with like a hockey mask on, hits you with a baseball bat and or a hockey stick. Like there's nothing else to it. He's like tough thug. I love it.
He is, and he's a vigilante, and he'd be like, arrested if he actually got caught. But
so would Batman, but
no, Batman goes to jail. There's a difference. Casey Jones gets a slap on the wrist and told not to do it.
Yeah, well, they're never going to catch Batman because all the Gordons are like his little bitches. So,
but that moves on though. With Turtles, we also watched Days of Future Past.
Yeah, which I'm actually pretty excited about. That this is what I said. When I first watched that trailer, I said this, of all the X-Men films, because there's been a lot now, and some have been hits and others not so much.
You want to forget them.
Wolverine, first one, not the most recent one.
Wolverine, the Origins gave me some of the best jokes I've ever made out of
I can't even watch that movie. Like, okay, so in Wolverine Origins, there's like this scene where like Silver Fox is like explaining the origin of like the name the Wolverine, and like I like just like glazed over during that when I was at the theaters, and then like I saw it again finally on DVD like a year later, and it happened again, and then I was watching again with Ben recently. No. And so I'm talking to Ben, and we were watching it, and like I managed to like miss it again. I still don't know what that scene is. Like it doesn't even capture like how bad can a movie be for me not to watch it. I love bad movies.
The fact that what sold me, and this is probably is when Wolverine went to go kill Stryker, and Stryker had the pistol with adamantium tip bullets.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
I literally said, I was like, wait, he's going to shoot him with bullets that are made the same thing his bone structure is. The indestructible substance is going to be blunted by the indestructible substance.
The kryptonite to the kryptonite is kryptonite.
Yeah. And, like, he shoots him in the head, and it's just like, I remember I'm packed theater up in Manchester, and the first words out of my mouth are like, wow. He's taking, literally, I'm like, well, he's taking the short bus to school tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
And then he gets, Stryker puts the second round in him, and my buddy's sitting next to me. It's just like, and now he really likes candy bars. He's just like, candy bars, and everyone's laughing.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if this movie can be any worse. And then I thought of X3.
That is the, like, I don't get me started. I can't even talk about this. Listen, I'm like already tripping over myself because I'm trying to restrain the anger, and like my God.
Allow me. I'm not a big X-Men fan. You know this. I'm more of a DC guy than I am a Marvel guy, and I will openly admit that I believe DC creates a better universe sometimes.
I like them both. Like I don't play favorites. So.
That's what she said.
Wolverine or Batman? How about both at the same time, baby?
But for me, X-Men was good.
Yeah.
As a casual observer, I enjoyed the story. I really wish they did a little bit more, and some of the villains got away. I kind of hate when they give you a rogues gallery and start capping them off left and right. X2 was a fantastic movie.
I believe that's one of the better superhero movies out there.
Yeah, it's up there with the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy as like great superhero movies. X3, while I understood why it had to be made, you can tell it was the multiple writer incident and multiple director.
Yeah.
You can tell where the director got fired and where the new plot made no sense.
Yeah. Like, it's still... I remember being with my best friend, Elena, and we were watching it at the midnight release, and we were literally clutching each other, screaming, because Jean Grey was doing the whole Dark Phoenix thing, like, in the house and, like, making it rise. And that was a really intense scene. That was awesome.
And it was really
And then it lands, and it's like the movie landed and crashed with the house because
it
like
just became every internet joke possible. Like,
yeah, it was like literally from that scene forward, it's just like the movie just fell apart and stopped making any kind of sense.
I mentioned when Shadowcat pulled the Juggernaut through the floor. I'm like, I'm fairly certain he should be dead right now. And somebody's like, well, he's the Juggernaut. I'm like, no. If I
That's
put
not even
you,
my problem with that scene.
I'm like, physics say he doesn't live anymore.
No, my problem with that scene is that he's sitting there and he screams, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!" And it's like the writers, like they didn't read any of the comics. They instead watched YouTube and like pulled that out.
This must be what the Juggernaut's like.
Yeah, I was like, no. Although I really did love Ellen Page's Kitty Pryde. I think that's the only good thing that came out of that entire movie.
Yes, that was probably... Well, it's like I said earlier, barring what anybody else says, Hugh Jackman does a good job as Wolverine.
Yeah, but he was there before X-Men 3. I'm talking about X-Men 3 specifically. Because she wasn't in the previous ones.
Yeah, Shadowcat wasn't.
They had
the fact that they used other X-Men, too, as opposed... It's like, we're going to kill Cyclops off. Why? Because we don't... nobody responds well to your character.
Nobody actually really likes Cyclops. He's just like, my glasses, I can't see. Oh, God, my glasses.
What happens if I take your glasses?
And then he like...
What happens if I take your glasses?
I mean, the same thing. Like, it's like I turn into Velma, and I'm like, oh, God, Scooby, help me. But, you know.
Yeah. No, but the 86-some characters, I made a joke when Jean Grey goes all Dark Phoenix and like, Professor X is in the chair and she's like up in the air and it's like, oh, it's a stand-in match you want? Well, the cripple will outshow you. It actually gives the better... Was that the one that gave the lead-in for X-Men First Class too with Magneto?
What are you talking about?
With the concentration camp?
That was X-Men 1.
That was X-Men 1, that's right.
Yeah, and then they recreated it. Which is actually pretty awesome. Is that they recreated that?
Well, first Class was phenomenal.
Yeah, I loved First Class. I think when I saw First Class, I was kind of like, good, we're coming back because we did X-Men 3 and we did Wolverine, and both were like, just like somebody literally like taking a massive shit on the X-Men franchise.
See, and the problem with Wolverine is it kind of needed to be done to set up certain things.
Yeah,
like nobody saw that Deadpool wasn't dead at the end. Imagine that. But. You know, X-Men First Class, I was really hesitant about another X-Men film. And I saw it and I was like, wow. There's going to be a lot of fangirls going, oh my God, Professor X and Magneto.
I saw that.
But then I was like, you know what, though? This is a well-built movie. This is well-read, well-rounded. Kevin Bacon as a bad guy.
Yeah, I know, and he was perfect for Shaw because I think you have to be a certain type of person to even make Shaw like even remotely like somebody you want to care about. And Kevin Bacon, he nailed that role.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know what to expect out of the trailer. Like I was going to go see it either way, and I was excited that Emma Frost wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wish January Jones could like act. She's very pretty. She's a gorgeous woman. And
sometimes you don't get lucky like that.
Yeah, and I think that that killed me because I think all the writing in First Class wrote Emma Frost correctly. Like her lines, cool. I imagined if it wasn't said by January Jones, like if it was said by somebody else, like actually being Emma Frost, they would be dead on. But it was January Jones, and they chose her specifically because she looked like Emma.
Yeah, and you gotta sometimes bite the bullet there when you want to.
Yeah, well, not when you're a gay man or like a woman who like wants to see Emma Frost like be Emma Frost, you know.
But another good casting choice in there.
Magneto, Michael Fassbender, bend me over, like seriously, please, anytime. If you're listening to this, I'm not a fanboy, but you can have your way with me. I'm just putting that out there. Now the internet knows. Like they didn't know before.
This is gonna make Michael Fassbender. He's just like I scour. I could see him sitting in his mansion in England, and like his Alfred comes up and it's like, sire, they're talking about you on an American podcast, and he's like, good. But Michael Fassbender for me, fantastic actor, future Bond villain. I mean, I can see him fighting Daniel Craig one day.
Absolutely, and I think he in general was just like. I've seen him in other films, and he's really good. He's fantastic.
His biggest role up in America at the time was Lieutenant Hickox in Inglourious Basterds.
Yep.
And he was pretty much chosen to be Magneto because he can speak German.
But what's funny is that I think. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not dissing Ian McKellen at all because I love Ian McKellen. I think he's a brilliant actor. To me, he never has seemed to be Magneto, and I think there's a certain amount of like rage that's involved with Magneto that I love, because Magneto is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah, Sir McKellen, though, for what he is the live-action Magneto.
And I agree. I'm not saying he did a bad job,
but you're right.
The role, like, I don't have any problems with him
You're
being
right.
Magneto. He just didn't seem like Magneto to me.
No, and I agree with you completely. I mean, he is, for all purposes, Magneto now.
Yeah. Yes.
But when you look at 1960s Magneto, it's Michael Fassbender.
It totally is, and that's what I loved about it. It was just like Magneto in the raw.
And my favorite scene is when Fassbender is in Argentina or Brazil or whatever, and he's talking to the old Germans, and
oh my god, the thing about
he exposes them as a former SS, and he's like,
and
so
then he pulls back his sleeve, and he's like, here's
got
my
the
tattoo, bitch. And then he
that's
so great. And then he takes the freaking gun.
My favorite line is, "What will it be? Blood or honor?" And like the guy goes to do something, he goes, "Blood it is." And he killed all 3 old SS guys, and I was like, yeah, that's the kind of dark you need to see out of Magneto,
right? And like it was just so amazing. I saw that scene and I was like, this is all I've wanted out of like any of the X-Men films right here. Like, we could leave, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Another good casting choice though, outside of Michael Fassbender. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh my god! And you know
made
what?
her famous.
Yeah, because that was before she was like Hunger Games famous. And Jennifer Lawrence, I'm so glad that she is somebody that is famous now, because I love watching all the awards ceremonies, which I really don't watch them.
Where she orders pizza with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, but it's like Jennifer Lawrence, like there's nothing like between the lines, you know what I mean? It's like she falls out of her limousine and she's tripping up onto the stage, and she's like, I'm not gonna lie, I just did some shots, like, you know, she's like, she's very honest, and I think that's something that
it's refreshing,
especially in Hollywood. And it's crazy that she's getting these lead roles in huge blockbuster films, and yet she's not like your stereotype for a female actress. Or maybe that means things are finally changing. I mean, I hope that's the case.
Hopefully, because you know she's a kind of a throwback to what it was back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's refreshing in the throwback sense, where it's not about how skinny and she is and her looks and all that. It's really based on her ability to act.
Yep, and she really is phenomenal. Like,
and
I don't know if I'd actually like Hunger Games if she wasn't playing Katniss, because I mean, I have problems with Hunger Games like as a piece of literature.
I have problems with the Hunger Games because of the social order discourse of the world, but that's
right. Like
that's
a riot would have never
myself.
happened before.
Yeah, but that's me, and that's another podcast.
Yeah, we can touch on that in a different.
But she carried the role.
She does, and I think that's why I love it.
She was told to be a stubborn West Virginian, and she played a stubborn West Virginian.
She did, and as Mystique, she gave that layer of Mystique that we couldn't get in the other films. Like, you see Mystique kicking ass like Mystique does.
Well, in the other films, you had Rebecca Romaine Stamos, who's a more confident woman in her abilities and all that, and she carried that over to Mystique.
Absolutely, and I love Rebecca Romaine, but I think Jennifer Lawrence was able to play that character.
Jennifer Lawrence took it from the awkwardness, the fact that she was more concerned about hiding her, gifts, as opposed, because she was there as the plucky blonde girl, sister of Xavier.
Well, I like how that was never really explained, but we'll leave that.
Well, yeah, but we'll leave it for plot's sake. But she was always sleeved in her human guise until Michael Fassbender. Let's be real. Magneto was like,
he's like,
let me show you my magnet.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, be blue, and I'm Michael Fassbender.
He's like, be blue, now be a cat, now do this. He's like, honey, I'm German. Every weird thing turns me on.
What's funny about Mystique too is that she is such a layered character in the comic books, and quite frankly, a bitch. And this version of her in First Class was a whole new take on Mystique. It
was insecure Mystique.
Right, but it was like, I don't feel like it was ill-received. I think a lot of fans actually wound up really loving Jennifer Lawrence's version of Mystique.
Well, and even, I read things where, Rebecca Romaine is like, well, that makes... And everyone's like, well, are you upset that her character is different from yours? She goes, no. That's a scared young girl.
Yeah.
Who becomes...
The strong,
prominent...
Right.
Turned back into a human person.
I know.
But, Jennifer Lawrence carried the role in a way that... I think only she can carry right now.
Absolutely.
Given the starlets of Hollywood.
Well, because she also carried that same role over to Hunger Games, essentially.
Which I hope she doesn't end up getting typecast for being like the strong girl, and then boom, American Hustle.
I don't know. I'm okay if she continues to be the strong female lead.
Well, no, American Hustle, pretty much the same. It was like the no guts, no glory kind of girl, but still feminine.
Yeah, but that's
where
I'm okay with
Katniss and Mystique are kind of like, let me go kill some people. I'll be right back.
That's true. That is totally true. But so anyway, so that's First Class,
Yeah.
and then in between First Class and what's about to happen now was the Wolverine, which I don't know if you saw that, but
Nope.
I thought it was going to be such a shit show, and then I watched it, and I actually really liked that one.
Good to know.
Have you seen it yet?
No, so I can't really comment on it. It was on the list of things to do, and
I would say that
it was on the long list of things to do while unemployed.
Well,
and while unemployed, I found other things to do.
Let me put it this way. I mean, Hugh Jackman makes a great Wolverine, but I think this is the first time we actually get to see Wolverine be Wolverine, because it's just he's ruthless and he. You okay there?
I hope so. I don't know if that was a yawn or a
you
burp.
want some water? Like
Too far.
Yeah, but it's the first time we really get to see Wolverine, because he's even says things that Wolverine would say, like he calls people princess, and he just doesn't give a shit. So
well, that really kind of started with First Class as well. When they were recruiting the team and they walk up.
I don't think that it came from that one line.
No,
but
that was perfect. Like that was more Wolverine-ish than any other thing he did at that point, where they're like, hi there, and it's fuck off. And
I appreciate that they use their one F-bomb on that, for this one cameo. That's gonna last less than 2 seconds.
He's got the cigar. He's got the cigar in his right hand. He's got a beer in the other, the flannel shirt, and they're like, "Hello, Mr. Logan, fuck off." And they just turn around and walk away. It was priceless.
I love it. So anyway, now X-Men Days of Future Past is coming out.
The Sentinels look creepy.
They do. And this is one of the things that I really love about this movie already, is that Bryan Singer and his designers managed to make these clunky, retarded robots from the 90s into something that's truly terrifying. And it's like what I was telling you earlier, is that I distinctly remember watching the first episode of the 90s animated cartoon when the Sentinel, Mr. Logo Man, stomps out and is like, "Halt! You are a mutant!" And Jubilee's like, "Get away!" And then he's just kind of rockets off, and I'm like, it's just a giant Lego guy.
Yeah,
it's like blow it up.
Don't worry, take his arms away and he can't do anything.
I know. Although I definitely, before this trailer even came out, they were doing these promotional images of the Sentinels, and they were making them look really scary in those too. So I mean that alone has sold me on this movie, and it's not even out yet.
Well, the fact that they can send the only one person outside of Bishop back in time, to save the day, without actually introducing Cable and or Bishop. But
they have Bishop in there.
Yeah, he's in there, but
I mean, I'm assuming he plays some kind of role involved with that.
I would hope so. I mean, Bishop was always the Days of Future Past arc kind of was. He was the guy.
He was that character.
He was the time traveler.
He was, and he still is. You know what? When I saw this trailer, though, I very much was like, we've had 6 X-Men films, and as I said, they've been back and forth on whether or not they're good. But I think this one in particular, and the way that what they're saying and the way that it looks like, is probably the closest to what the X-Men universe is like, which it's it's dark, it's mutants, it's politics, and then it's also time traveling and parallel dimensions and other ridiculous stuff that in other comic books they try to do that kind of stuff, and it just doesn't work quite as well as it does in the X-Men universe.
Yeah, the Batman Return of Bruce Wayne arc. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of what makes the weirdness of the X-Men so cool, is that it's just that all that time hopping weird, it's just additional multi-layer to the politics that are already going on. And that's why I'm pumped for it. I mean, besides the fact that they took all the best actors, and
they really did. It's we because you know what does me credit, even though she's not the best actress in the world. For me, Halle Berry is Storm.
I'm still not. I feel like there are so many other options that could have been Storm, but
there are and there aren't in a way.
I think at the time, I think Halle Berry was the primary choice because
she was naive and it's
yeah,
an easy paycheck.
pretty much.
But the character evolved at the end of X3. Unfortunately, it had to evolve in the X3 thing where it was like, oh, the guy who basically raised me, taught me everything I know, is now literal ash all over the place.
Yeah.
Let me get angry. And
actually, that was one of the few things I did like about X-Men 3 is that I felt like Storm was actually finally being Storm.
Yeah.
Like when she screams at, I can't remember, it was Wolverine. Wolverine's
she
like
yelled
all
out.
flipping out about Jean, and Storm like storms in. She's like, you need to figure your shit out because there's a bigger problem here. Like,
and like the way she took charge.
Yeah, that's Storm. That is
Like
Storm.
I said, that was the problem with it. Is it unfortunately took the third X-Men movie to make Storm.
I know.
Because she was always, and I got over the fact it's like, oh, Storm's the same age as Cyclops and Jean Grey, and they were former students. When the fact is, like, Storm's actually a lot older.
Yeah.
There's like where Professor X is like 60s, 70s. Storm's like matronly, well-mannered matronly in like her 40s.
Yeah.
And then it's the rest with Logan being somewhere near the top. It's like, how old are you?
Wolverine stopped counting. He's our friend Corey.
It depends on which Wolverine and what era of comics you're talking about.
Although
traditionally,
you missed out on this, but last year they did the more like dimension hopping, and there was gay Wolverine for a while.
Yeah,
I was okay with that. Trust me.
Honestly,
Hercules, it worked.
Honestly, I can tell you this: Wolverine's been around for so long. I would be more surprised if he hadn't tried it.
I'm not one of those gay guys that assumes that Wolverine is gay. I definitely think Wolverine is bisexual because he's been long. Like, first of all, he's feral, so I figure he fucks anything that moves. And secondly, it's like you said, he's been around long enough, and he's a very progressive guy. I think that's why gay guys and like feminists love Wolverine, is that even though he's like that stereotypical like macho man, he also is like he's like pro like equality and like rights, like Robert Downey Jr. a little bit,
Because let's face it, Robert Downey Jr. probably did stuff, and there's a lawsuit. Pooh.
Oh. But you know what I mean. So,
no fear.
Seriously.
See, Michael Fassbender's gonna write.
Bitch.
Michael Fassbender's gonna write you a loving letter, and I'm gonna get a summons from Robert Downey Jr. I'm probably gonna have him come to my house and punch me in the face.
I don't think anybody actually cares. I mean, that's
honestly, like there's gonna be a knock on the door, like once this goes up, and I'm just gonna be like, "Holy crap, Robert Downey Jr." He's like, "Hi, you said this about me?" I was like, "Yeah." Pop. He's like, "Okay, we're even." I'm like, "All right, thank you."
But so X-Men Days of Future Past is also part of that like era of, especially Days of Future Past. That's when it came out. Like it was the 80s, and it's just like they're doing this with the comic book movies as well. They're dipping into every aspect of that.
The stronger arcs were all written.
Yeah.
In the 80s, that's when the golden age turned over to the modern age.
And it wasn't just comic books; it was
it was everything.
And actually, I actually really like a lot of stuff in the 90s too. Which I don't know if it's just me being obsessed with both the 80s and the 90s.
Probably.
But I know Rugrats was a multi-layered show that I watched. I recently rewatched some episodes. Like, this show is more for adults than it is for children.
Did you get all the Whovian references?
In what, Rugrats? Yeah.
The screwdriver and there's Daleks all over the place?
Yeah, I had no idea until now.
Yeah, there was a pile of Whovian references. Because, Tommy and his friends go on magical adventures. It all starts with him and the screwdriver.
Oh, my God. That's so true. So true.
My personal favorite is, you look at how comics were in the 80s. You had the Dark Knight saga, the Dark Knight Returns saga. You had Days of Future Past, Batman Year One, because I'm just going to keep spouting Batman stuff. And you look at the movies that have been coming out.
And it's all that.
Frank Miller flat out said it. He goes, "You look at Batman Begins and you tell me that's not what I wrote."
Well, pretty much. And I think that's the issue, is that they don't. I don't know why they can't create new ideas. And I think even in the comic book industry, like, they're having issues finding writers that can keep it going. I can think of a lot of writers that I think are amazing, like Gail Simone and Kieran Gillen. I think they're.
My problem with the comic industry is they're afraid of. The one thing that helped Batman out go from the camp to current was they redid Batman.
Yeah.
They made it dark. They made everything But with Batman Year One.
Isn't that what they're trying to do with New 52 and just failing miserably?
And it's horrifying to watch, but it's like, if you're gonna reboot the way it should be.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they didn't even need to reboot. Like, it was strong, it was steady. Like, I felt like comic books were still really good up until this whole New 52 thing, and now Marvel's trying to figure out what they want to do to like rebuttal to it. Like, you don't need to rebuttal. Don't worry, DC's already fucking it up. Yeah. Like, you know.
But Marvel's owned now by Disney, so Disney's going to be like, ha! We need more cheerful characters out there.
First of all, that is not true. I think with Disney, they were able to create some of the better movies that we've seen in continued production. However, since Disney now owns them, I really want Gargoyles to be officially part of the Marvel universe, because Marvel has produced those comics before. So can we just like make the Gargoyles be part of like Gargoyles. The Avengers already? Like, come on, that would be like my entire childhood.
You mean Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yeah, actually.
That was the most amazing part about that show.
We'll just team up with the X-Men
with David Keith.
Then
it was
Gargoyle.
It was the cast of TNG with David Keith.
Oh my god, I love it.
Goliath, what an awesome guy.
There's a movie that if they're gonna dip into the pool of good things, can we like dip into Gargoyles?
Jonathan Frakes has to be Xanatos though.
Yes, he does. Oh, he might be getting too old for it though. So
Jonathan Frakes has to be Xanatos.
That's what he said like 20 years ago. He doesn't look like he did then. Trust me.
Computers. They were able to put Arnold's face on some other dude.
They could make Marina Sirtis be Demona, because that's all prosthetics, and she herself has said that's. She said Demona is the character that's most like her. Yeah. And after meeting her, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's I have low expectations with Marvel.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking forward to Star Wars. Like
everybody.
I'm gonna go on the record. I am not a Star Wars guy. I always said you can find better science fiction elsewhere if you want
namely TNG.
Star Trek, Star Trek on multiple levels. Babylon 5.
Even Battlestar Galactica in the beginning.
Up until the end of halfway through season 4, but Star Wars to me is just low grade. It's trying to be an epic and a samurai film and a western and that. And the only time a samurai film and a western and an epic worked was the Kill Bill series.
Or it did not work out for A Message from Space, which nobody even knows that movie.
We do.
Yeah, my boyfriend's obsessed. You know what though? I've been watching the Star Wars animated Clone Wars, the one that's CG, and
that's fantastic.
It's so good. Like,
and then it had to die because Disney bought it.
Yeah, but it's like
Cartoon Network wasn't allowed to do it.
I would have been much more into Star Wars, and I like the original trilogy. I'm one of those bastards that like I grew up watching the trilogy. Like I loved Return of the Jedi growing up.
Oh, everybody loves Jedi. I'm not saying I don't like the movies.
No. But like, here's the thing: I'm like one of those bastard people that kind of enjoyed episodes 1 through 3. I'm an asshole. I realize that.
I saw them for what they were. They were entertaining. And the story, everyone think, well, this and this, and you have to look behind that. You look at the original trilogy, and the writing's just as bad in the original trilogy.
I realize that. I'm not talking about the writing here, but
they were, you could tell which one was directed by George Lucas and which one they took directors and made George Lucas not do. Same shit happened with Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry directed Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and it is a 3-hour-long Star Trek episode.
Oh my god! I mean,
and then Michael Myers directed Star Trek 2, and you got The Wrath of Khan.
Yep,
probably one of the greatest Star Trek films of the original movie franchise. Refute with Klingons and other Star Trek-y things.
I mean,
the earworms that Chekhov and the other guy had in their head.
The earworms. Oh my god, earworms. I always forget that's in there. I don't know why. I
like how I like how Captain Terrell kills himself and then Chekhov's like, oh, I'll grab my ear, and the thing slinks out of his ear. I'm like, shouldn't he be dead?
I don't know. That's fucking Chekhov. Nobody really understood why he was there to begin with.
It was to replace Sulu while Sulu shot. Honestly, the no BS lie. Chekhov was there to be the other kind of foreigner while George Takei was at shooting the Green Berets.
That's true.
So he was filling in until Sulu got back from that production.
But then they were working together for a while. Well, okay, so anyway, we're getting
Walter Koenig and George Takei are best friends. Effectively like me and you.
Pretty much. I mean, they're the same person, but one's gay and the other one isn't.
And the other one.
But I don't think Star Wars or Star Trek is the problem here, because I think those are things that it's
Those
like
are,
Doctor Who, where it's like it's
established
forever.
Yeah, and say what you want about the new Star Trek films.
Yeah,
people still go see them. People are going to go see Star Wars episodes 7, 8, and 9. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm more concerned about how the movie industry is literally starting with the Poseidon Adventure and that piece of crap they made. I don't even remember the title of it, but they had the Poseidon. They had the Poseidon Adventure with Ernest Borgnine and Gene Hackman, where the ship rolled over, barring the fact that that would kill everybody and the ship would sink because water would find easier ways in, And then they had that happen again, and it's like they butchered it, and it was god awful, and it was what else are they going to screw up? And then Transformers happened.
Yeah, you know what? Transformers, I think this is a prime example of like how they're trying to dip it to something that's great, and it's awful. Here's the thing. I do not remember anything from any of the Transformers movies, and like I've seen them all multiple times. I cannot tell you what happens in any of them, because like that's how disengaging those movies are. And how, like, talk about it like crushing your childhood. Like, that is exactly what those movies are.
I saw the first one when it came out in 2007 twice, because they had an 8 p.m. showing and a midnight showing.
And did you like it either time?
I went with two different groups of friends who wanted to go.
Well, I guess that changes things a little bit.
And it was overwhelming the first time.
Yeah.
The second time, I'm like, this is really shitty plot. Like, what the hell is the like Allspark cube?
Well, it's like, what is happening, period.
Why is Megatron a jet? Traditionally speaking, Megatron is usually a cannon of some sort or a tank of some sort. And it's like, Starscream's still a bitch. That's good. Where's Soundwave?
Well, they didn't fuck that one up.
Yeah.
That's
Where's Soundwave? And then it's like, you look at the Decepticons, and it's like, they're tanks, they're police cars. I'm like, well, that's not right. Prowl's supposed to be the police car.
I know.
And then it was like, oh, here comes the one with the shovel. It was like the Decepticon with like I think it was a radar thing.
Yeah, no.
But it looked like a giant spatula, and it's just like, oh, good.
I think they were trying to get something from that whole franchise, but they didn't actually do any of the research. So they were like, here's the characters.
Well, the fact that
we're not even going to see what they transform into.
Yeah.
We'll take your word for it that they're characters in there.
The fact that the robots look fat. The only two that didn't look fat were Megatron and Optimus Prime.
I did not even notice that.
But like, look at Ironhide, look at Ratchet, look at Starscream. That was
not one of them to me.
And they're like fat guys, and it's like, and then furthermore, it's like the Autobots are incompetent.
Okay, well, that's true.
They were highly incompetent, and like I'm like, these guys are supposed to be the smarter ones, and the Decepticons are tooling them. And who saves the day?
I don't know, but that's kind of
honestly. And as much as I'm pro our forces and all that, the Transformers movie was a big jerk off to the United States military. All three films.
Yep.
You had the badass special forces team that took down as many Decepticons as they could in the first movie. In the second movie, they showed like the hovercrafts that carry tanks. And you have M1A2 Abrams battle tanks rolling off the thing, America's our mainline tank for the last 20-odd years. You have Apaches, you have F-22s. You even have the railgun thing that's like, people don't know if that's a real thing or not. And it's like the railgun on the boat, and they're like, just shoot it. Or we'll hit something.
Don't worry about it.
They had like all the fighters, all the bombers, all the tech we had, and it's like, And then, in the third one, you had like the assault on Chicago, and it literally was like when you had Tyrese's team, which was all full of like ex-mil.
Yep. And
then you had with like high-powered weapons and armor-piercing rounds, and I'm like, you can see gun laws haven't been enacted in the states they live in. And then you have, I can't remember the actor's name. Well, the army captain dude, and he comes in like parasailing on those like Metal Gear Solid-esque skull suits.
I remember watching that scene and being like, what the hell is even happening?
And I'm like, why don't they just insert via helicopter? It seems safer that way. Because like
seriously,
they lose like three of the V-22 Ospreys. There's 6 of them. They lose half the guys before they even get there, and then they lose another half of the guys who jump out. So there's only 10 dudes, and it's like wow, way to waste all that special forces training. The last time this happened, a bunch of Arab guys shot a bunch of rockets at our helicopters.
Oh my god! Also Optimus Prime jumping out of the jet
to transform into a robot. And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Then he lands and like transforms again. It was like, this scene is so ridiculous.
Yeah. But like you look at it and it was like, and then you go there and it's like, oh no, we only have like this many dudes. We have like 20 dudes. Oh, here are some Navy SEALs. They're around the corner and there's like a whole battalion of U.S. Army just like, hey guys, what's up? It's like, what were you doing here? Hiding until when?
We're chilling. We're having some beers.
Yeah, we're not. Why? Because we're not fighting the giant robot. And then they start tooling the giant robots.
Oh, I know.
Not to mention the annoying fucking robots in that.
I know, because they kept on making up robots for this movie.
They really did.
You didn't need to do that.
Skids and Mudflap? I'm surprised that movie did not get sued. I literally am surprised that movie. Like Bumblebee he hasn't gotten his voice box fixed. It's like,
yeah, but then it's fixed and then it's not, and
then like Ratchet's an idiot.
They can't even figure out what they're doing with Bumblebee.
I honestly think the best thing they could have done was get rid of what's her face, Megan Fox.
Yeah, but how it went down was like kind of fucked up though.
Well, that's usually how it happens, and honestly, she can't act anyways.
Well, anyway, I think if we're watching Transformers, if this is
that's
any
right, folks.
indication of what
a week
TMT
from
is
this,
gonna be
not
like,
only am I going to be punched by Robert Downey Jr., but Megan Fox may also punch me in the face. Ugh.
Well, April O'Neil.
Ugh.
I mean, if this is any indication of what TMT is going to be like, it's just like, all right, so, I have to go into this drunk. Get me a scotch.
I honestly have to say, the best thing about the Transformers movie is it single-handedly ended Shia LaBeouf's career.
That
because he flat out said, "I am no longer making big budget movies," and everyone's like, "Bye."
Well, maybe because he got paid enough movies. He had enough money from Transformers that he can do whatever the hell he wants at this point.
Well, it's like I hope he's true to his word, like Joaquin Phoenix, where Joaquin Phoenix did the Johnny Cash movie, The Man in Black.
Yeah,
and then like he just retired. He's like, I've literally played one of the greatest musicians in the modern history, and he's like, I'm not making movies anymore. I'm just gonna he's like, I'm gonna go write a manifesto and grow a beard, and he did that.
True facts. So how do you feel about the G.I. Joe movies, which is also from that?
If they were not called G.I. Joe, I would have enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it a little bit more if it was International Action Team Go Ha.
I mean, yeah.
As I like spout that out,
Baroness. Ugh. Baroness loves you, Duke.
And I'm not gonna lie. As a kid, I kind of had a crush on the Baroness.
I mean, I just wanted to be the Baroness. Isn't that the same thing?
I don't have a crush on the Baroness anymore, just because of that comment.
Just imagine me in the tight leather and the glasses. So what I'm wearing now, but tighter. I think I've even insulted your fiance over there.
Honestly, I think you just made me straighter.
Yes. That's how I like them. You have to take your shirt off, Carly.
Yeah. Once again, the wonderful fiance is in the room. What? He's not going to be offended.
Yeah, I'm helping you wear. I'm going to watch you try on wedding dresses. Like. Yeah, that's true.
What's going on in here?
They're like, hey, you guys are being kind of, oh my God.
Hello.
But yeah, so.
But no, the Baroness, Channing Tatum as Duke, not too bad, but Channing Tatum was like...
I mean, it's Duke. Like, how interesting is he going to get anyway?
Not really.
He just needs to be hot and, like, muscular.
Damon Wayans as Ripcord, I actually liked.
Yep.
Because that was, like, Ripcord's, like, attitude was just kind of like, I'm in the military. I'm in the military. I'm in the military.
And that's where it ends. There is no...
And then, like, you had... I think they oversaturated the cast. Like, you had Brandon Fraser play, like, a short role, and then it was like hinted that it was supposed to be gung ho.
Well, they did that with CoverGirl also.
Oh well, and it was and CoverGirl was CoverGirl was totally wrong.
I know,
because CoverGirl is actually supposed to be a tanker.
I know, and
her whole thing is to make sure everyone knows that Shipwreck is not gay.
Right, but there's no Shipwreck, which for some reason.
So there is no CoverGirl in my book.
They had Jinx in the second movie. Which
they also had Snake Eyes.
They did have Snake Eyes.
And Ray Park's...
That was done sort of correctly, except they fucked up like his whole like history with him like speaking and not speaking. But like when he wasn't speaking, he was Snake Eyes, and that was awesome.
Well, and the whole point of Snake Eyes not speaking is he can't.
Right.
his vocal cords have been destroyed.
Pretty much.
And everyone's like, oh, he took a vow of silence. I'm like, no, he's a horribly scarred man. That's why he wears the suit.
Pretty
if
much.
he takes the suit off, he will die a horrible, horrible
They made a joke about that in Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, when he who is it? It's Shore Leave
yeah,
rips
Shore
off the helmet and he's like horrible. He's
sorry,
like, I didn't know what's back there.
Sorry, Afterburner. Maybe it was just trying to hide my disfigurements.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was amazing.
He's like missing an eye and he's like the burned out earlobe.
You know what? Hold on. I know. I'm going to touch on Jem real quick before we wrap this up. But I do want to say that if they really want to dip into the pool of the 80s and the 90s and take what's good from it to create something, just watch Venture Brothers
or Megas XLR.
Yes. Also, yeah.
Megas had a real good pulse on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think
Venture Brothers has it because
I think Venture Brothers like gets it and they get what is good about it and how to recreate it.
Yeah,
we need to do a Venture Brothers episode because I do not want to start this right now because I will just go on forever.
This will never end.
No, and Shore Leave.
It will just be your spirit animal,
pretty much, and Lara Croft. But I guess before we end this, because we're like close to an hour now.
Wow,
I know, right? This is what happens. This is like what happens in the dining room. The diner, what the hell is it called?
The diner, Cromwell Diner.
Yeah, it's nothing sketchy. It's just us being nerds. But so the other thing is that they announced
that they're making... Ironically, it's not in the diner. It's in the parking lot of said diner.
Yeah, right. What's going on over there?
It's two guys talking nerds.
Yeah,
questioning
nerds.
Questioning Leon Kennedy's sexuality.
That was a long conversation we had.
It was a great conversation.
And the answer is no, I do not think he is straight at all.
I got the answer I was looking for.
Maybe he's going to go join the cast of Jem with all that eyeliner.
He could.
Although I guess I am a little excited about Jem because they're at least trying to listen to what people want from it. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I can be indifferent on it because...
You don't really care about Jem.
Well, Jem was the part of the Saturday morning routine. It was like the girls' cartoons. It was My Little Pony and then Jem. And then it rolled right into the guys' cartoons. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, He-Man.
See, this is why you need to be gays, because you can enjoy My Little Pony, Rainbow Bright, and Jem, and then also you can enjoy G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, Mask.
I am going to say this, though. I
Silverhawks.
enjoy Sailor Moon. So
I think that's normal, though. I think there's a lot of dudes that are into Sailor Moon.
Well, a lot of dudes won't openly admit it, though.
Yeah.
They'll be like, no.
But now there's bronies, so they might as well admit that they also like Sailor Moon.
Well, on the reverse, I was okay with the original My Little Pony. I watched a few episodes of the current stuff, and I'm just like, wow, there's not enough pot in the world to make me enjoy this.
My thoughts about the current My Little Pony, which is also dipping into this pool, is that I like Pinkie Pie, and that's about where it goes. But that's because I think Pinkie Pie is specifically like mocking like all of it.
It really is.
And I get that. But it's not like I sit there and I watch all the episodes because I can't. And
no,
I understand
I need brain cells and I need to go function.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Powerpuff Girls, but, you know.
Powerpuff Girls was something different.
It was.
But with Jem, I will say this. I thought when... What? That was very heinous of you, Carly.
Wait, I didn't even hear what you said.
She asked which one of us was the gay one because I said I like Sailor Moon and Powerpuff Girls.
Okay, I didn't even catch that, but that was pretty awesome. Good job, Carly. But what were you gonna say about Jem?
I was gonna say when we moved from the first house I grew up in to the house I spent most of my childhood in, my neighbors had 3 girls and they were all blonde.
Oh my god!
And I thought they were the Jem girls.
That's awesome. I just want to be a misfit. I'm not gonna lie. Although watching episodes of Jem stresses me out because they actually have real world problems, and that's them being bullied by these assholes. The entire series, that's what it is.
Yeah. But back then it wasn't called bullying. Back then it was just called competition.
It was called Mean Girls, and then Tina Fey wrote a movie about it.
Oh, Tina Fey.
Yeah. I don't even know who I want to see play Jem. Do I want a nobody to do it? Do I want Lady Gaga to do it? Do I want somebody who's
Honestly, I think Lady Gaga can do it.
I think so too. I think she would be the best choice. I don't know if she would want to do it. It's
Lady
Gaga probably, but
she probably would. And then she'll probably get 3 messages that nobody understands.
It's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be if it's Lady Gaga, it's gonna be Lady Gaga with Cyndi Lauper and a washed up Joan Jett, because that's that is literally that what they do. They go to all these pride functions and speak together as a group. It's almost perfect.
Well, it's
maybe they should just be the Misfits. Actually,
they really should.
No. Somebody was brilliant and said that Kesha should be fucking what's her name from the Misfits, and I was like, that is amazing, and I hope that happens. So
yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've touched on everything enough, and if anybody has anybody even made it this far into the podcast, or did they stop listening like half an hour ago?
Yeah, probably half an hour ago. Some of my friends were like, "You did great for the first 10 minutes." I'm like, "You didn't listen?" He's like, "It was 40-something minutes long." I'm like, "Okay."
You know what? I have lots of friends that release like 45-minute to like an hour and a half podcasts, and I will listen to the whole thing.
Well, I was just like, okay, whatever. I ramble, but I ramble about consequential things. So,
listen, I think it's interesting.
but
so.
yeah, so if you're still at this part, thank you.
Thank you for bearing with us. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, let us know.
You can hit us up on Twitter at what's the Atomic Blue? It's Atomic Blue
Prod me. And then also atomicblueproductions.tumblr.com, our YouTube station, which is also Atomic Blue Productions, and then you can just go to the website, which is atomicblueproductions.com. It's pretty easy now that I've said it like
which
5
you probably
times.
have to go through the link to listen to the thing.
That's true.
So,
Congratulations.
Be on the lookout for future projects, such as the elusive Gino.
Yes, it's actually going into its pilot stages pretty soon.
Hopefully. Got to work on that as well. What is it? Team Sexy Bane Outlast Outplay.
Yeah, we're making our way through a bunch of things, and also it's starting tonight. But this is going to be like after the podcast will be out after it. The Dr. Yoshi show, which I'm doing a vlog at this point.
Nice.
But it's not a vlog about me specifically. It's about Atomic Blue Productions and what our team is doing and behind the scenes stuff. And
Very
like
nice.
little tidbits, because we always shoot things that can't go anywhere. That's where it's going. It's almost like watching all that all over again. So that's starting. Team Sexy Bane is still playing Outlast because I think we're on like part 8 now, and like it's terrifying. So it takes a while to get through.
Is it terrifying, or is it just terrifying for you?
I mean, it's terrifying. It's legitimately, and I don't get scared by video games. So. And then there's also Catapult, which is with Kineticon, and we do all the videos for Kineticon, but Catapult is its own web series.
Yep, and Geek Out Freak Out.
Geek Out Freak Out, which
we're
we're a spin-off of.
which we have to get off our lazy asses and actually
we're
fix.
allegedly shooting a Daria episode soon. And/or we'll just move on to something else, because we shot the Daria episode, but
it was too
it
depressing.
got fucked up. And it's like, I think it's been like 4 months now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're actually going to do Daria at this point, but eventually.
So check us out at Atomic Blue Prod.
Yep.
Facebook, Atomic Blue Productions.
Yep.
YouTube, Atomic Blue Productions.
Tumblr, same thing.
Tumblr, same thing. And atomicblue.productions.com. Right?
Yep. .com.
.com.
Social chameleon.